Hey, good day, everybody. This is Dennis Wilburn, the Active Trend Trader. Today we're going to be covering the ThinkorSwim OnDemand Simulator. You know, as an old naval aviator, and we'll get into that in a little bit, being able to simulate flight conditions is very important. Well, being able to simulate trading conditions is also very important. I think this very powerful tool that is provided on the ThinkorSwim platform can help all of us become more consistent, more profitable, and more confident in our trading skills. So with no further ado, let's jump into today's session. Hey guys, as I said earlier, yeah, I am a naval aviator. Flew with VA-25 out of Lemoore, California for many years. But one of the things that as I was going through flight training and all that type of thing, before the Navy would let us close to one of these multi-million-dollar aircraft, we had to do something called flight simulation. And there you go. Now, of course, that's not me. This is the simulators we had back a long time ago were, not quite that fancy-dancy. But the thing about it is the in reality, for every 1 hour we spent in the aircraft, we had to spend at least, normally about 2 to 3 hours in the simulator. And you may ask the question, well, why? Why? Well, there's a lot of different, answers to that. The benefits of spending time in the simulator are very unique. One, it saves time in training. Two, it saves, money in training. Okay? You're not putting jet fuel in one of those aircrafts to go, burn holes in the sky. But also it protects, one, the aviator, because you can practice all your emergency procedures right there. It puts you into situations that you would probably not, experience in flight, but at least you'd be ready for them. And as I said earlier, it also protects the aircraft, which, as I used to say, the aircraft didn't fall, come on trees, and so, and it prepares you for the emergencies. Well, learning how to trade can do something very similar, and that's one of the things I really like about the ThinkorSwim trading platform is it allows you to do that. Today I'm going to walk us through, one, how to set it up, some of the glitches that I have found with it. So if that's important to you, we'll give you a workaround for all of those. And so, with no further ado, let's jump into it. Remember, what we do at Active Trend Trading is for training purposes. Traders should always paper trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. So if you have never gone into ThinkorSwim, there's a couple of things you need to remember. One is you need to have the ThinkorSwim platform downloaded on your laptop or your desktop computer. They do have some mobile apps that work fairly well, but they don't let you do the simulations like this. Also, ThinkorSwim has a really excellent platform that is a paper trading platform where you can actually place the trades and all that kind of stuff, and it would work on actual market time. And so you can simulate your trades that way. As you can see, we are live in the market currently, right now. And price action, if you're watching it, the market's actually getting the snot beat out of itself today to the downside. And I'm glad that I've got some trades that are basically positioned to take me to the downside. But that's not what we're here for today. Let's walk through getting our on-demand feature set up. Now, on-demand, a couple of things to remember. One, on-demand is only available. On-demand is only available on the real paper account. So if you have not funded your paper account, I would say even if you want to trade another platform, but you'd like to have access to this particular tool, fund it with a few dollars, like $100 or something like that. They'll give you access to this. Because if you open an account with ThinkorSwim and TD Ameritrade, I think they'll let you trade or they'll let you have access to the platform I think it's 90 days before they will basically restrict it. And again, it gives you access to the paper account and this really great tool here. So let's take a look and let's jump into the session today. And one of the first things I'm going to start looking for is the On-Demand button. As you're looking at the platform, now I've got mine set up where I can look at the account statement. I can actually go into activities and all kinds of stuff. But the On-Demand button on the live account is right up here in this right-hand corner. And I basically just go ahead and click on that, and it takes me away to POW, the simulated account. Now, one of the things that I want to be aware of is one is I want to show you how to get out of the simulated account, which is very interesting. You need to but enlarge your complete package, because if it's too far about this way, where you trick, if you have it set up where your watch lists are over here, you miss where you can reset your situation to go back to your live account. So where is that? It's right here at this backward clock, as you see right there. Let me get rid of that. It's right here at this backward clock right here. So if I click on that, what does it do? It sends me back to my actual live account. Things are back cooking again. I want to check on one thing. Okay, good. Got to trade on MARA and to the downside, and want to make sure it keeps going down. So let's go on back to On-Demand. So On-Demand, as we click that, now we've clicked into a time frame where it's on-demand. As you can see here, these are simulated trades on demand. Now, what's nice about the on-demand is they set you up with $100,000 worth of trading. And you can see I've been practicing and doing my own simulation, and so they will elevate it and bring it to 200,000, so they give you 2 times margin when trading it. So as you can see here, since I have been trading, I want to start with a clean slate, because I don't want to just pile on profits on top of profits. And if I'll just go up here to this little gear right here, it says Reset Account. Push that button, and it's asking, do I really want to do that? And the answer to that is yes. So POW. I go back here now and look at how much I have. And so it sets me back to, and I'm going to take the privacy off of that because we're going to be taking a look at that as we roll through this. What are some of the other things I want to initially get set up? Well, one is I want to, you can basically go across here. All your everything on the account works basically the same as the regular account. The only thing about it is I can set it up in time somewhere in the past and then work through doing trades, testing my back testing my system that I have. If you're an active trend trader, you can practice using the active trend trading system. And so I can go and set it to a time. And so where would I do that? I do that right here. And as you see the controls there, it looks like a VCR, well, or not VCR, a on-demand little TV controller. They don't have VCRs anymore, Dennis. What's wrong with you? And I can actually set it up to a time frame. And so I'm going to set this up because I know where I'm going to be going for a trade, but I'm going to set it to the day after Thanksgiving 2020. I want to go in here and I want to set the time. Well, I want to first, as you can see, it's clicking through. Go over here to the pause button and hit pause. I bounce back over to, look what happens when I hit pause. Up here in the right-hand corner, it says paused. Real-time data. And now this shows February 25th, which is actually what today is. I want to also go up here and say, okay, here I am at the 11/27/2020. That's good. I want to go here and say what time frame am I on? Do I want it at localized time? Okay, I live in Hawaii. I have to basically would have to adjust this to twice a year. I would have to change it from, because we don't change for daylight savings time. So for convenience, so I can get all my things matching up, I want to set this to Eastern time. That's 1. So what time does the market open on the East Coast? Well, it opens at 9:30 in the morning. So I'll make adjustments here. But I'm going to leave this set right now for 1600, and actually it says for that, which is 4 o'clock military time, and it's 3 minutes after 6. And I'm just going to leave that there for a second. Everything else remains the same. I have order entry. What I have found is I found that the account statement, well, actually the activity position works better than the account statement in this particular. In my live ThinkorSwim account, I like using the account statement, just preferential treatment. A couple of other things that we want to be taking in consideration as we get ready to work on this is I can trade options with this. I can go over here to the option desk. Let's put in a ticker. There we go, TSCO. Let's put TSCO. As you can see, TSCO has now the options that go back to 27 November. They have weekly options, so I can trade options, but today's is going to, I will have another video up that's going to be talking about, I haven't produced it yet, that's going to be talking about how you use this tool to trade options. But so that's one of the things. And so then I can also just basically monitor here. Let me get rid of my drawings. So I want to go back to, I prefer having, while I can have my chart show up on, let me see if I have it. I do. So I can have my chart set up on a separate tab, such as this, or what I find when I'm basically doing the back testing is I can just utilize that previous feature, previous page, and just put it on charts. So this has, and like I like to have this set up with weekly on the left, daily on the right, in the middle, and the intraday, 30 minutes or an hour chart primarily because I'm primarily looking at swing trading. Now, some people want to trade like day trade. You can set this simulator up to where you can do day trading and just focus on your 1 minute chart, 5 minute chart, 10 minute chart. So that's kind of cool. One of the things that I will do is when I'm in this, when I'm just doing my simulated trades, I'll go over here and set my charts up. And you can see, there you go. I've got a chart. This is the 27th, after hours. And 27th was, of course, Black Friday. And it was closed at noon on the east, or 1 o'clock on the East Coast. And so that's where it closed. And we'll be opening up over here. So that's part, and so that's part of the items that we want to be working on. So to get my, let's see if it lines up right now. I already have it set. So if you want your charts, and like normally when I'm normally trading, I have my charts set on, here's the style, I have them set on Hawaii time. Well, I want it synchronized with the time that I have on that I'm regular trading. So I go ahead and I just set this down for New York time, New York Standard Time, and you just apply that and away it goes. The other thing I want to do is I want to click on my show orders, but I want it to send it where I can toggle that on and off, and that's just a show orders. I apply that, and let's see if I need to do the same thing over here. Styles, settings, I do, it's toggled, so everything is good, so okay there. So now okay, now that I've got my setup ready to go, just let me give you a couple of, all the other tools that we utilize work perfectly well with the, so in other words, all of my indicators, my moving averages that I would normally have on my regular charts come over. I encourage you to learn how to save that, like as a study, and that way you can just put that in place. The other thing I encourage you to do is I made a setup here that is for, right here, see this here in here, it says Trade 1 Present Testing. That's my setup to do my back testing. That way when I switch between when I switch between my non-testing or the switch off of on-demand or into on-demand, I can go ahead and just go here. I go, give me that, which is my, click on that. That gives me my trades, my testing setup. Click on that, and it'll reload that up for me. So, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about, let's see what we can do as far as looking for potential trades. So that's how it's basically set up. A couple of other factors to be looking at is I'm going to set this up to the 30th, and here's how you start running the system. Now, if I just turned it on right now, which is this button right here, and I start clicking through, and as you can see, it starts clicking through, and this switched to on demand over here, and it's going through, and this goes through second by second. Now, I don't want to sit there all day and 8 hours, 6 hours while the market would be open on the weekend when I'm doing my back testing. So a couple of ways I can get around that is I can, if I want it to go all the way through its sequence for the day, I can click this quick advanced feature here, which says fast forward 3 times. And now it takes 20 minutes to go through 1 hour on the market. Another way to basically do this, take care of advancing, I can go to advance, this advancement here, step forward. It steps forward in 10-minute increments. So if I'm going to set this up for the, and I want you to keep your eye on what's going to happen over here as you see all the NAs and NAs under the bid ask and the nets and all that kind of stuff. When I modify this, it will change. What time does the market open in the morning? 09:30. And now I can click on the day, the 30th. I'm gonna fast forward to the 30th. Hit go. And now, as soon as I click that button right there, the market will open. So let's see what that looks like. Market open. And if you'll see up here, it says pre-buffering. There we go. And the market's open. And look what else has happened. Over here on the right-hand side, or left-hand side, everything is populated. Now this will stay populated now for the rest of the time that we are working with on demand. Now, a couple of things to be looking at is I stop this and I say, okay, as you can see, I got to 27 seconds into the trading day. Now, I have no idea what's going to happen with this. I would have no idea because I can just position this anywhere I want to and then watch and advance it a day at a time to look for my individual triggers. Let's say if you want to be an end-of-day trader, you can set it up for the last hour of the day and trigger, and basically go in and just advance to the last hour of every day. We'll talk about that. If you want to be, maybe you're a trader who wants to watch the first hour of the day and then come back for the last hour of the day, you can basically just sequence it through that way also. And so it's very convenient also to help set up our routine so that this is the way I want to, and practice that routine. Practicing a routine is very, very important to, one, gain consistency, gain confidence in your routine. And so now I want you to keep an eye. I'm going to put a box on this over here. So where it says paused, I'm going to put the box up there. And I'm going to go ahead and click through. I'm going to step forward 10 minutes. step forward, and as you can see, it goes to pre-buffering. Pre-buffering. What that means is it runs through all the data for that particular stock, but the other thing that it's running through, folks, is it's running through all of the items I have on my watch list. And as you can see by the movement there on the intraday chart and also the daily chart, it will bounce back and forth. It will bounce from doing the adjusting the price on the intraday, and then when it's done there, it will jump over here and adjust the price on the daily. And what you should find is when it is done doing that, the price 138.68, which was the closing price for that particular period. As you can see down here where it says Tesla 138.68, it will eventually come to rest on the intraday, and it'll be stuck right there. But as I said, part of the thing, if you have an issue with bandwidth and you want the program to run faster, one of the things that I would suggest would be switch off, either go to fewer entities. And so that's where I will take, and I will go to let's say I would just want to look at leveraged ETFs instead of all of the indexes. And so that cuts me down dramatically on what I'm watching there. I can also just throw this watch list out and not look at it at all. The other thing I can do is change the watch list that I'm actually looking for. And I'm going to change that to my AutoPilot Top 5 Practice watch list. And it's the AutoPilot Top 5 is basically 5 stocks that I put out on a weekly basis, along with their entry triggers and their exit triggers, and their for both profits and losses and for protection. And so as you can see, and we'll get into this. And so now that you see how that functions, now let's get into, well, how would we basically use this? I don't think I'm forgetting anything here. Coverage setting up, ThinkorSwim. Now, if I wanted to, okay, I can pop up the weekly chart if I want to take a look at it. We'll cover that when I'm talking about how to test and use the TSI, which will be a new training coming out fairly soon. And so, okay, so let's look at, well, what are we going to do with the information? Well, one, it's good to have a roadmap of something to trade. And so that's one of the things that I like about the active trend trading AutoPilot Top 5. And if you are a subscriber to that, you can go back and pull up the past trading, and that's exactly what we do with. And here's a copy of this particular one. When did it come out? This came out on 11/29. That happens to be I think that was a Sunday. It came out on, and what this provided it to people is basically the 5 stocks that came off of the 14 IB Investor Business Daily watch list that made it through and ranked on the Power Rank Elite watch list. And then it was after reviewing that watch list, I came down with the top 5 growth picks, and that was on 11/29. And a couple of them. So it highlights this, but I want to hone in down here on TSCO. Now, TSCO, basically in the description area of the pre-flight checklist, what shows up? Well, a couple of different things. One is it just explains what I'm looking for, what price action I'm looking for, and I was looking for it to pull back to the 137.70 amount. And I said, I'm going to put in a conditional order, and this is where I want to keep this information and write it down, 137.50, correction, $137.05. My T1, that's my profit target number 1, is $144. My profit target number 2 is $150. my profit target number, my stop loss on this case is if I go below 131.84. And so we'll utilize this information then to bring it over into our trading, over into the simulator. Again. Well, something's going on. So, okay, I'm going to roll this back. Okay, we already agreed. We're going to trade TSCO. And so I'm going to roll this back to when? I'm going to roll it back to the day when I put out and that's that day. So the day that we basically put out the instructions. And that came on, this is Friday, so it came right in here, the weekend. It came out on Sunday, the 29th, as you can see, because Monday is what? The 30th. And so I can actually sit there, and this is what I do, is I sit there and as you can see, I've already practiced this particular session, but I can build an order now around what we had for the and so the way I do that is I can basically right-click here, right-click there, and I'll say buy, and I want to buy how much? Well, if I have let's say $100,000 up here to trade non-leveraged, and I divide that by where do I want to buy it? Get in at 137.05, and I'm going to have 4 positions. I can invest $25,000 in each position. So now that I have this is my order to buy. Well, let's edit this. Let's change this. Well, and I can do it either one of two ways. I can click here on the little gear on the side, and what will happen is this will pop up. Now here's where and I can change this in here and say I want to buy, and it just turns out to be that at that level, 137.05, I can buy 180 shares. My limit on this is what? 137, whoops, 0.05. I put that in place. How long do I want the order to be good for? Well, I'm going to put it in order and let it be good for good till cancel. Now, those of you who trade with me, you know how I set these up, of course, is I put that in like that, but I make sure that I cancel the order out if it doesn't get filled by the next Friday. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but that's one of the features that is not available when I'm trading with the simulator. So I have to go just with a limit price. So I can go click, that order is ready to go. But I want to practice taking care of, I want to put everything in there at one time, and I want to practice the reverse order on that, which is basically when I'm going to sell. To do that, I just place these, I can go in here and I can say, the first order triggers what? An OCO, which means one cancels the other. I can now right-click, opposite order, and I want to go back to my little gear, and here's what I'm going to do on this. What is my first profit target? My first profit target is $144. Click. What about my stop loss? That's the other half of my OCO order. And now I don't have to go to my gear. I can actually just go in here and say, hey, I want to train that to a stop. Where's my stop at? I put that in, 131.84. Now this order is ready to place. That's my stop. I've got my profit target, and I have where I want to enter the particular trade. So that's ready to go. I just want to make sure. Okay, show orders. I do want that to happen. I want this one to also, oops. show orders. Okay. Now, once I click confirm and send, what will happen is the levels where I am expected to buy will show up. So here we go. Pop, send, and bang. Now something didn't function properly, and I'm going to have to go and check and see what that was. I know what happened. So what happens, I can go up here and I can go, oh, this OCO. And as you can see on the OCO, the second OCO also triggered in I'm going to get to show you something that I wasn't necessarily going to show you, but the second OCO triggered in at also 144, so it didn't take. I want to go cancel and replace. Just one of those, cancel and replace. And now my stop loss, see, it didn't take when I put in the stop loss. And so what is my stop loss? 131.84. Tab. This time it looks like it took. Confirm, send, and now I have the orders set up properly. Now what I will do is, one, as you can see, that takes up a lot of space, and distracts from the price action. And I want to be aware of the price action. So what I'll do is I will just take a price line, go right to what that level is, click on that, and that is at a 137.05. Right click again, edit it, 137.05. And I'm going to change the color. I'm going to change this color to this really pretty blue. Increase the size to 3, and then I can click on that. And I want to put that in for, that represents my place where I want to buy. As you can see, I've already played in, down here, 131.84, and I also have a 144. And now I can go in and I can just basically take these off of my chart, so I don't have to look at it. So I'm just going to go back into my chart, hit that, settings, nope, go here, show order, pow, they're gone. And I can do the same thing over on my weekly chart, or intraday chart, if I want to watch what's going on with the weekly chart. Because why? Because I've already identified that's where I want to get in. I know what it is, and that's where I want to get out. And same thing here. And so I can erase that, or you can leave it in place, whichever one. So since I don't want to take away from the price action, I'm going to go ahead and just take that off, both the daily and the intraday chart. So as you see, now I can practice this. Okay, I've got this in place. Green for sell for a profit, red for sell with a loss, and then the blue is when we're in. Right now we are not in this trade at all. So now I can start ticking forward to see how the trade's going to go. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, and this is where you have to make up your mind. What do you want to be? Beginning of the day trader, or end of day trader? And I'll give you an example of that. Is 09 30. Yeah, I'm going to set that 10 second. No, let's go ahead and just tick that off. Now I want to set it on the 30th and go click. And away it goes. And all the bells and whistles will start clicking off. And so now I can basically just start again. This is a really quick review. The one arrow is the play time. Pow, it started playing. That is at normal time. 1 second equals 1 second. 1 minute equals 1 minute. Further to the right is the fast forward, where it goes through 3 minutes every 1 minute. As you can see, I am working on a half-hour chart. Now, if I wanted to change this, I can go ahead and just click this over to a, let's say, a 15-minute chart. And all it does is then basically just move faster. So that's where we basically got into, we're not into the trade yet. Again, it doesn't get into the trade until we trigger down here. And part of the deal is I don't know if that's going to trade today. I don't know if that's going to trigger today, this is a Monday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But we've got our order in place. It's almost like a fire and forget type of procedure. I'm going to go back into also, I can set this on a hour chart, a 2-hour chart, a 78-minute chart, whatever is your preference. Okay, I kind of like utilizing the half-hour and 1-hour chart simply because that is what I personally use to trigger into my swing trades. So okay, so we've started the day. Pow, we've looked. We're not down there yet. Okay, it's time to go to the golf course or go to the beach, and so I can't watch the market anymore. Click the stop button. And now I can go in at the end of the day. Well, how do I do that? I just basically change this to either the last 2 hours of the day or the last 1 hour of the day. Or you may be so efficient, you can say, I can go in for the last half hour of the day. That's all I care about. So let's take a look at what it looks like at the last half hour of the day. So that would be at 3:30 on that same day. Now when I click this, there's a little box there that I put in earlier. Let me get off of this before I click it. See a little box there? That's the first couple hours, that's the first hour or so of the day. So when I advance to that's what everything is added up from there is started at that point. Here we go. Let's go hit the go button. I like the go button. And you see what happened. Pre-buffering. And now it has extended me on out. I want to make sure that I am stopped. It has extended me on out to the end of the day. I am a half hour away from the close. I'm a half hour away from the close. Price action is just about ready to click over to the next thing. If I want to go ahead and just start this, and I'll reset it. But if I want to start this, you'll see, pow. Price action clicked over into that little itty-bitty number, a little bitty tick right there. And now we're in the last half hour of the day. So with that said, what I can do is I can leave like 3 seconds on at the end and just let it cook off from there. So that takes care of taking us to the first point. As you can see, the one thing to keep in mind though is that the price that will show up over here on the daily chart is reflected over here on the watch list may not be the same as what's reflected on the intraday chart. What I found on the intraday chart, it's kind of a mix between the bid and ask. Also, we're 3 seconds into the last half hour. That impacts what shows up over on that period also. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reset this back to 0. Although I'm going to go ahead and let's go through to the next day. Again, I'm going to basically say I am an end-of-day trader. Go. Okay, end-of-day trader at the end. What happened on Tuesday? We basically ran up and then fell back down really hard. Stopped at the 138.68 level, or actually it's saying here that we're going to stop at 140. It's still buffering. I want to let it get all the way to buffering. Now watch what happens over here on the intraday chart. Price action should start moving around a lot. It should. And it might. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Nope, it looks like it's kind of settling in okay there. So nothing took place there. So I'm, again, I go to work, I go play golf, I do whatever I'm going to do. We are in December now, and I go to the 2nd. And I go ahead, again, I'm checking in at the end of the day. I click. And as you can see, as we're buffering through, it shows me my price action through the day. And so here's one of the things that you can do. Unfortunately, like with the paper trade account, you can adjust a position and basically show that you're bought in. You cannot do that with this particular tool. Now, if I look, I'm going to be watching up here. As you can see, as I go back in time, right there on that hour, right there, as you can see, price action actually got down to 137.03. So that tells me I should have filled right there, or right here on this candlestick right here. Now, what I need to do in order for that, show that to you right here, I can either back up the clock and put it to run through that, order right there, and let's see, that actually filled at 14:25. Make sure I got that. Let's see right there. And so what I can do is I can back up the clock, or I can just go in and leave my order in place. Now, if I leave my order in place, what will happen is, and remember, it's not going to fill me until the price action, as it stalls out, is actually at the 137.05 level. If I click on the fast forward, how much time? I've got 30 minutes to go here. I don't know if that's going to go all the way down here or not. It did come down a little bit lower this day. And so if I go ahead and click on this and it runs forward a little bit, let's see if we do get filled. I don't know if we do it prior to the end of the day or not. And as you can see, price action is ticking off over here. One of the other things I can do is I can stop that. I can just roll it through 10 minutes at a time. I don't want to, let's say I don't want to wait, like right now. So you see it buffer? Aha, price did drop over. It is not done buffering yet. There you go. See that virtual fill? At 136.96. Now, one of the things I have found, which is kind of as you can see, it didn't fill when I advanced it, even though it should have filled here right at the number. However, as I advanced forward just a little bit further, it did fill over here. Now I can go back here and set this at, and since this is a exercise in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and say go. And as we know, that did not. And for demonstration purposes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically now show you. Come on. I'm going to actually put that order back in, but I'm going to use it for so I'm going to buy. And this time I'm going to edit it, and I'm only going to buy, so it will stand out. I'm only going to buy like 20 shares. 20. Again, my 137.05, good till canceled. I'm going to confirm and send. Oh, you know what? That might fill. I don't want it to. You're seeing it as it runs. Okay, good. It did not function that way. And so now what I want to show you though is, okay, if I'm an intraday trader, I have to be paying attention to when and where I put my orders in, because if it runs through it as I'm advancing and doesn't fill, I've got to make an adjustment to fill at where I had my trigger to fill, because if I don't, here's what happens. Is again, that's a good tail cancel order right there on that 20 shares. Is that order still in place? I don't know. Let's take a look. And how do we do that? We just basically click over, styles, show orders, and is that still, yep, see, there's my 20 shares that I want to buy. So that's still in place. And what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and just leave this in place, and let's run this through till we're currently on the hold on a second. We are currently on that's the second. So now I want to run this through to the third. And look what happens here. Go. As you can see, prices gapped way down here to 134.91. We are buffering. Now one would think that the system would adjust itself up to fill up here. However, what I have found is that is not the case. As you see, I filled at 134.92. Now what I can do, and so to get out of that, to rebalance this out, I'm going to go ahead and just sell the 20 shares at wherever we're currently at. I'm going to sell. And this is the other way you can that you can basically do that. I want to just basically sell. Let's say I'm going to sell it at the market. Not 200 shares, only 20 shares. Because I want to only get it back to rebalancing where I was previously. So confirm send, bingo, bango. And now it sold me out at about the same thing. It was a penny difference. So I just wanted you to see that as we basically tracked on down, it filled, yes, per the logic. In the order, it filled properly by just checking at the end of the day. However, it didn't fill properly in that it passed that during the preceding day, and so you'd have to make adjustment for that. Let me go ahead and, so now with that in place, now we basically just run the, so now that is in place, now I can just start ticking forward and saying, okay, well, what transpires from here? And again, I'm envisioning practicing over a weekend, so I can go to the 4th. Again, I am practicing like I'm an end-of-day trader, so I want to check it every day at 15:30. I'll go ahead and advance it just 1 second, so I will get that other tick, or let's advance it 5 seconds. So now we're going to the 4th, 5 seconds after, and what is the price action doing? I pay attention to, here's my daily, I am buffering still, waiting for everything to transpire. You'll see some movement going on. You should see some movement going over there, because it should end up at about 134.94 or 134.85. As soon as this pauses here, normally that means am free to advance again. So let's go advance again, and we're going to go up to the 17th. Go. And I'm just watching, okay. So I'm saying, okay, everything looks good. I'm pre-buffering. Looks like it's going to wind up at about, off of this, it says 137.63. Let's see if it gets up that high. And so let's see, 2 times, talked about that. So there we go. We have paused out 137.63. That has made an adjustment over here on the watch list over here. And so now I can advance again. And as I say, what we can do is if we are practicing our trading and or back testing, you can run through multiple days of this within an hour's time frame. You can probably run through like 3 or 4 months worth of data. And so that would be a good hour's worth of practice that you could get on a regular basis. We let the pre-buffering go ahead. And then it just paused itself, so we're right back to where we were. There we go. 16, not where we were, but 1634. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bounce forward. I'm trying to, let's go ahead and bounce forward to the end of the week. On this particular trade, I know, I know what happens. So let's bounce into the end of the week. And that would be here, the 11th. Price action closed out at about 138.63. And while we're waiting for that to transpire, I'm showing 136.34. Remember we are at 137.07. I can go over to monitor, and I can look here and it'll say, okay, I've got 180 shares, and what transpired is basically it did click in to be what, to today's price action on the 11th. So I've got 138.63 as my mark. Right now I'm up $2.68 from where I bought it. So my profit currently is $341. My profit for the day was $300, and so that's well and good. If I go over to the account statement, what does it show? As you can see, the account statement does show, there's what I'm doing with regarding trade price, close price. So shows something similar. And also order history doesn't show an order. I have to go back over to there, to the activity, and then I can take a look at what orders do I have outstanding. I have 3 let's see, open working orders. I have 2 working orders. What are they? 1, sell at 144, or sell at 144, or sell at 131.84. So get back to that. Let's get back to our chart. And where are we? We are on the 11th. So let's go ahead and skip forward to the 15th. Actually, the 14th. End of day. What transpires? Price action continue to gap up, move higher. On the next day, the 15th, go ahead and push that forward. What happens? Price action continued to push higher. We almost made it up to the 144 level, and then it's showing a reversal signal. Now, this is where one of the things you may want, as you're testing, rather than leaving your stop loss down here. Now, I'd leave it down there simply because of the AutoPilot system. I want it to be as much fire and forget as possible. But as you see, I could actually move up my stop loss to right below these lows. Be perfectly valid to move it up to like $133 rather than one, and so that would reduce my risk dramatically, especially after getting a shooting star type of pattern. So let's go to the 16th. What happens on the 16th? Price action is actually reversed and triggered and went on up to the upside. What transpires from there is, we'll let that buffer out, because as you can see, it's above, it shows up 144.62. Now our trigger was, now see it shows is selling at 144.60. In actuality, okay, it would have triggered right there. At the 10:30 mark, somewhere between 10:30 and 11 o'clock, it would have triggered right there at $144. So in this particular case, if you are doing it using it for back testing, ensure that you're reporting an accurate number. In this case, the accurate number would have been 144, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. But since it went all the way to the end of the period, it showed that the price action, it sold out at the price action it stopped at for the period. So that basically is the way it works. Now I can go ahead and I can remove, to get these out of the way, I'm going to remove my entry. I'm going to remove my stop loss, which is good. Get that out of the way. And I can actually leave the green one in place because that could wind up to be a potential trigger to the upside. The other thing I'll show that we can do on this is let's throw in a fib. And if I'm not mistaken, let's grab this fib right here down to these past highs. I think that's the one I want to do. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. So as you see the Fibonacci, this extension, the 1618, is up at what number? 149.82. Well, isn't that pretty close to our next target? And so, which it is. Our next target is at 150. So I'm going to drop in there. I'm going to drop in this line here and go ahead and edit the price line. Just going to change that over to $150. Now I'm not going to put it in an order because again, I don't have any shares. But as we set up the original order, I said is I could have had 2 OCO orders to sell out half when I hit the 144 and half when I hit the other one. So let's just roll this forward and see what takes place over the next few days. Now I'm going to roll it forward a couple of days at a time. So I'm going to go to the 18th. Price action continues to break up and move higher. Now I'm going to go on to the 21st, or let's go to the middle of the week, the 23rd, just before Christmas. Price action continued to move up, and actually, look at this. It hits the 150 level right here on the 22nd. And so that in the actual trade that we did with the active twin trader members, that's where we took off our second profit level. And so, and I just want to demonstrate you can practice with your Fibonacci's and everything else on this. So anyway, that gives you a good idea of how this works. As you see on this particular, let's go back and do the monitor. The profit and loss statement on, let me go here to my account statement. If I go here and look at trade history, it doesn't show up. How about profit and loss? Yep, it does. Profit and loss statement, here's Tractor Supply. I traded that, and it shows what my year-to-date profit on that particular trade was. Now, I envision if you wanted to practice with this, you could basically download, as I said earlier, and I may make this available if people are interested in it. I can provide the past top 5 autopilot pre-flight checklist. And you can go in and you can practice, put in the orders, practice watching it go through the iterations throughout the day, and go. You'd have 5 things you could practice. And if you did 5 of these over a weekend's period of time, before you know it, you would be doing exceptionally well. Before you know it, you would be mastering both the ThinkorSwim platform, mastering the trading system, and it's been my experience that traders need to experience like hundreds, not just 1 or 2, but hundreds of trades to get to where they've gained the confidence in both themselves. And so, if you are interested in learning more about the AutoPilot Trading Top 5, here is just a way to get in. You get a video every week, email notice when the new list is live, the top 5 stock picks for the week, the pre-flight checklist, which tells you exactly how I'm going to be trading if you want to parallel trade with it, broad market analysis, video review of the top 5 charts, and then you get the bonus is basically on that page. It shows you exactly how and where to utilize the AutoPilot trading system. If you're interested in that, I will put a link down below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. There's that handsome guy. He's back. Again, if you're watching on Instagram, I will make it available on Instagram TV. You can either follow our profile there, or on the profile, you'll find Linktree. Linktree connects you back to all the other good stuff. Hey, remember, before you trade, do your pre-flight checklist and check out the AutoPilot Trading System. If you found this tutorial helpful and beneficial, again, please leave a comment. Until later, aloha. God bless everybody.